Hi, BonBon here. It's been a long time since I've done a vlog on the Sunday. I used to have a regular one on the Sunday way back in the distant history when YouTube was in black and white, apparently. And I used to talk on Sunday about the news, about my life, do an occasional skit, all that kind of stuff. But that's long since gone. But this week, a lot of things have happened. Some of it on my channel, some of it I think good, some of it was definitely bad, and we also have the news of some changes to the terms of service from Paradox. So I'll be talking about those things in that order. We'll get to them as quickly as I can. Let's start off with the changes to WhatsMap and what do I think? How do I feel this week has gone? Well, I would say I am very happy, if not ecstatic, about the production content of WhatsMap Week, the new weekly WhatsMap show, which is my main review show now. If you look back into the distant history when WhatsMap started, I used to do 3 reviews in one show. Each review was about 2 minutes long. Admittedly, it was awful because at the time I didn't know what I was doing. It was all new to me. I didn't use any mods. It was all hand-driven and, frankly, mostly, looking back at it, unwatchable. But hey, you know, that was how it was meant to be. It was originally designed, the show, to help you find the best map for your next city build. And somewhere along the line, that got lost. As the reviews got longer and more in depth, and we go down and explore and look at everything in great detail, it became more of a more of a show for modders, map makers, to actually have a look at their work and get ideas from other people's creations, and less of a show to help you find the best map for your next city build. At the end of the day, if you're looking to build on a map, are you going to sit down and watch a 20-minute review, or are you just going to look at the screenshots off of the workshop page? And the answer is, well, the second thing. And of course, we all know that that can mean that you are loading up a map which is broken or is flawed, which is why we have the review show, and it's just one of those balance things. A 20-minute show is not one that somebody looking for the best map for next city build is going to watch. Unless, of course, there are multiple maps in it, which is what I've switched to now. And we've got all 6 reviews in what was, this week, a 20-minute show. And all told, yeah, I had some production problems. We're not talking about LUTs yet. We'll get to LUTs in a moment. But there were some production problems that were a real nightmare for me. But episode 1 of this style, I think I can circumnavigate a few of those problems and make the show easier for me to make next week. Even so, it was about 12 hours worth of work, and I've done this to save myself time. I think I saved myself about 6 hours last week by switching to this new format, and it was still 12 hours worth of work. So it's still a major project every single week. The live show is going to be controversial, I get that, and we're kind of going to be talking about streaming when we get to the terms of service. So I'm going to skip over it completely because we can talk from different viewpoints for as much as we like. In my defence, and I'm using air quotes here because I don't feel that I really want to defend it. In my opinion, there we go. Opinion's probably a better word. The stuff that is WhatsMap Live, that a few people are saying is behind the paywall and it should be open access, this is stuff that is behind the scenes. This isn't live review. This is well, it is sort of live, but this is the stuff that I was doing anyway. Before I would start recording the flyover, following the roads down Valtellina, the map down Mississippi down below, I would have to plan that route. I would have to make notes of the things that I want to look at during the flyover. I would spend that half an hour or maybe even longer, some maps shorter because some maps don't have that much depth to them, but I would spend the time that I'm showing live now planning. And that's what we do in the live show, is it's the planning of how I'm going to put together the 3 to 4 minute showcase at the end of the week as part of WhatsMap Week. So I don't feel that it's really a paywall as such. There's a curiosity there. If people want to watch it, they can. If they want to support the channel, they can. If they don't want to support the channel, that's fine. Anyway, I'm getting defensive. In my opinion, I don't really feel that it's a paywall because the main show is Friday, and this is stuff that I was doing before, but I wasn't recording, and now I am. But I'm allowing people to chat while I do it. Anyway, so I'm really happy with the show. I think it comes together really nicely. Let's say there were production problems, there were LUT problems as well, and I'm going to get onto them now, which requires me to switch screen to my game. Right, so the problem that we had was, let's start off with Monday's show. Monday's Live was watched by a good number of people. This was Bringer of Fire's map. This is not the one we're looking at now, but Bringer of Fire's map, Yucatan Bay. And retrospectively, it definitely had the wrong LUT. That said, I didn't realise there was a problem. I could have compared the screenshots to the screen. Having said that, not one person in the live chat said to me, this doesn't look right, this doesn't look like the screenshots, which honestly I would have checked at that point, but it's not something that I noticed. It was make sure what's the theme and LUT, make sure we got the right theme and LUT, and we're good to go. It was brought to my attention during the review of this map, Valtellina by Random5. Random5 was in the live chat, and Random looked at the map and went, that doesn't look right. And I went, oh, well, we got the right theme and LUT, and showed them that we had the right theme and LUT. And I reviewed the show, and it went, the actual cinematics were recorded with the theme and LUT as I had set. Later on that evening, we had a look at The Road Home by Larry Skylines, and Larry Skylines was in the chat, and Larry went, the colours don't look right. Now, this is the point that I'm now getting a bit concerned, because, well, hang on a second, Random said a couple of hours ago that his were wrong, and I'm definitely using the right ones, and I showed that, and then I just did a test with something, and it definitely showed that there was a problem. We have isolated, I have isolated the problem, and the problem is within Ultimate Eye Candy. It might be a conflict with another mod, it might be, I don't know what it is, but I've never had a problem with Ultimate Eye Candy before. I know there's a few of you are going to say it's obsolete, BonBon. It is obsolete, and I guess technically it is, especially now. Well, I've got a workaround for it, but that's okay. But everybody's switching over to Render It, which is a really good mod. The only problem for me is, Render It is great. Right, Render It, if you're doing a city build, you're going to get your Render It settings to make your city look perfect, and you're going to spend weeks working on that city. I'm going to be changing the Render It settings twice a night. And if there's maybe 30 or 40 settings just to adjust, to tweak and whatever, twice a night, I can't do that. I cannot be changing Render It settings 6 times a week. So I've got some base Ultimate Eye Candy settings that have worked fine for years, and so I go with those. Let me show you them. Ultimate Eye Candy down here. I've currently got the game showing no LUTs. That's the setting there. And when we go into the ambient settings, these are the base Watt map settings. Every map is reviewed with these unless otherwise prescribed in the description. 6.25 global light, 1.026 in the ambient. I do have a preset for this as well. If I just change these settings like this, go up to the presets, choose Watt map. The Watt map preset also includes the realistic 1.2 LUT because it's the one that we most commonly use. If I click load presets, go back to ambient, you can see we're back to this preset, but now instead of no LUT, we are on realistic 1.2. So realistic 1.2, this is how the map looks. Except for does it. Except for does it. Right. Also, realistic 1.2 isn't the LUTs that Random wants for this map. It's Springwood. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into Ultimate Eye Candy. We're going to scroll up, find Springwood, which is here. We're going to load LUT, and this is how it looks with Springwood. And this is how the map looked when we did the review. And when Random looked at it and went, the colours don't look right. And I go, well, we are definitely using Springwood. And we're definitely using the right theme. So what more am I supposed to do? Well, we found the problem, or I found the problem. Let me now switch the LUTs using the options menu. Let's switch down to Springwood here. There you go, there's Springwood. And that is how Springwood looks here. Let me also show you the realistic 1.2 LUT in the options. Again, there, realistic 1.2 is... I will find it. There it is, 1.2. There. And that's a little bit greener than the realistic 1.2 in Ultimate Eye Candy. Let me switch again back to Springwood. So that is how the map should have looked during the review. But now let me, and this is one that I found, you may already know what's coming if you're watching where I was clicking previously. If I go up to Chibot Winter LUT, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines above, that there is the LUT that we were using. So Ultimate Eye Candy, I've got a problem with. So from now on, rather than use... because there's no guarantee. If I wanted, come down here. I'm guessing everything is out by 6. So, oh, come on down. Come on down here, please. Thank you very much. So if I wanted to go with modest, what's 6 above modest? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Owl's Retro. If I go with that, that's Owl's Retro, isn't it? Yeah. We have problems with Ultimate Eye Candy, and I have the solution. The solution from this point on, when setting LUTs, I will be doing it from the options menu here, and we go back to Springwood. There we go. And that's how it should have looked. So my apologies to everybody who had the review done this week, with the exception of Larry Skylines, who had the last review, and that was at the point where I'd solved the problem. So, yeah, from this point on, we'll be using the new system, and we shouldn't have any more LUT problems. Is that okay with everybody? Are you sure? Okay. Right, now, let's crack on with the breaking news. Brought to my attention by Stalker. Thank you very much, Stalker, for letting me know that this was coming. We have some new terms of service coming from Paradox, starting, I believe, from the 1st of March. Now, I've not read the old terms of service for a long while, so some of this might be old news. Some of this might actually have been in the old terms of service, and it's just really come to my attention. So, if it's old news, I'm moaning about something that people have been moaning about for a while, but it's my turn. And if it's new news, then, yeah, be grouchy with me. Huh? Let's switch over to here. So we have a new user agreement. You don't have a choice. These are the terms. You can't. Well, you can opt out by not having the game anymore, I guess. They do suggest if you want to opt out, getting a refund from your retailer. I'm not sure whether or not Steam will refund you for a game that I've had for 6 or 7 years, just because the user agreements have changed. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. I'm not looking for a refund anyway, but this is all information anyway. The user agreement governs your access and use of products, content and services offered by Paradox, as such as games published by Paradox, and so on. Now, there are a couple of bits in here. One bit that affects me, and one bit that affects certain members of the community. I'm actually more bothered by the people being affected rather than myself. You know, when I mean, adversity is too strong a word, but you know when there's adversity and say there's a disaster or something like that going on, and you are more concerned for everybody that's going on around you, and you'll try and help other people rather than worry about the fact that you've got a scratch on your leg. So you're helping other people. That's kind of where I am with this one. I've got some grumbles about how it's going to affect me, but I can deal with it. But I do have some big concerns about how it's affecting others. Let me scroll down to the bits there is a very nice summary here. If you're a TLDR person, too long didn't read person, these headlines are quite useful. I wouldn't rely on them. The detail down below has all the detail. But these are, if you can't be bothered to read all of it, you can read this to get an overview. But don't rely on this for legalities, okay? So anyway, then we have the long version. So we have the license, we have Paradox account information, changes to services, availability. Then we get to a bit called user-generated content. This is the bit that I'm most concerned about. Right, first of all, let's be fair to Paradox. They have been incredibly supportive of the community, and I'm sure they will remain to be incredibly supportive of the community, especially things like content creator packs, the likes of King Leno, Vanya, Sidai, Sanctum Gamer. The list goes on. I'm going to stop there. The list goes on. There's a lot of really good content creator packs out there where they have been supporting the creator community, and I'm sure they will continue to do so. Yeah, okay. let me take a breath. We love when our community creates user-generated content, including mods, and we encourage you to do so. Absolutely, I would say probably 80 to 90% of the reason why City Skylines is still strong now is because of creator community content, modding, and an amazing, thousands upon thousands upon thousands upon thousands. We're just hitting 50,000 maps on the workshop. Okay, some of them aren't very good and some of them are exceptional, but that's the whole thing with the workshop, is everybody can create and share. And so what? We grant you the right to create, enjoy and make publicly available UGC, user-generated content, for non-commercial purposes. Right, non-commercial purposes. That's keywords. I'm not worrying about this right now because there's a bit later on that's going to bother me more than those words. Right, so basically you can make it for fun, you can't make it for sale. Right, we scroll down. I'm going to jump straight to this paragraph here. This paragraph here is specifically related to creators who make things that are then put onto Patreon or the likes of Patreon. I'm not going to mention any creators' names at all because there are many, and many of them are some of the best creators that we've got. Siren to the BonBonBingo players. Oh, there's an Echelop card that time. Anyway, unless otherwise agreed, the creation and publication of user-generated content are for strictly non-commercial purposes only. So, unless otherwise agreed, so content creator packs I'm thinking here, the user-generated content shall be provided for free and will be freely available. For example, you may not put your user-generated content behind the paywall, but you may accept donations for your time through Patreon or similar services or through sponsorships. So you can make your new map, you can upload it to the workshop, but and you can get payment for it, but you can't make it only available to Patreon subscribers. Now, I can see a loophole here already, and I imagine that's, and I have no real technical knowledge, and I can see a loophole that I think the likes of the very best, I'm talking the very best content creators, will still be able to exploit, to be able to make their user-generated content effectively paywalled. Not paywalled, but effectively paywalled. It will still be available to everybody, but effectively. Do you know where I'm going from there? I'm not going to talk through the details of it because, again, there are bigger brains than mine that may have better ideas for how they might avoid a paywall. That said, having all of the content not behind the paywall will be amazing, and I'm looking forward to those days. But and I do get the irony. We're getting to get to me in a minute, okay? I know you're rolling your eyes, right? We're going to get to me in a minute. But this is news to me. I don't know if this is new, but this is news to me. So all of this stuff will not be able to go behind the paywall. However, that isn't the bit that bothers me. This is the bit that bothers me. And when I say bothers me a lot. Again, accepting that Paradox are incredibly supportive of the creators. Let me read this verbatim. By making your user-generated content available, you grant us and our affiliates a non-exclusive, royalty-free, sub-licensable, irrevocable, and perpetual right to use, develop, reproduce, modify, create derivative works from, distribute, transmit, broadcast, otherwise communicate, publicly display, publicly perform, and otherwise commercialize or exploit your user-generated content in any manner or form and in any medium or forum, whether now known or later devised, without attribution or compensation to you or any third party. This right shall survive the termination of this agreement. So, you make your new map. I'm choosing maps because it's a map channel, but it could easily be a building or mod. You make your new map. And then Paradox, in conjunction with their affiliate, who's making a new action RPG game or something like that, they then take your map and basically convert it in a way that they can now use it in their new RPG game. That is your map that you've spent a year making, and they can do whatever they like with it. They can modify it for the new game. They can make derivative works from it. They can sell their new t-shirts with your map on their t-shirts. They can transmit and broadcast, etc., 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 publicly display, and then commercialize and exploit your user-generated content in any manner or form, in any medium, without compensation to you or any third party. Now, they may never do this. And from what I've seen of Paradox, I've seen no hints that they would ever do this. But including this paragraph in here makes me worry that they would. Because they've gone to the effort of including this paragraph, and it covers absolutely everything. I am bothered, and I'm being polite here, I'm bothered by this entire paragraph. And you think, well, do you know what, I'm just going to get out of this. That's fine. It's fine. I'm just going to take my work down. You can take your work down, but you still made it and shared it, and this right shall survive the termination of this agreement. So you terminate the agreement by cancelling your, by refunding City Skylines. I'm sorry, but your map or building that you spent weeks making, getting the correct textures, etc., etc., that is something that they can include in City Skylines 2. And that's fine if they give credit to the likes of whoever made that map or that asset. And it's fine if they compensate, especially if they compensate. Now, I'm moaning about something they haven't done. I'm moaning that they're going to steal your buildings and your maps, and then they're going to commercialize it via maybe even an affiliate. I'm moaning about this, and they haven't done it, but they can. And this whole paragraph absolutely makes me, well, it makes my stomach churn. It makes my stomach churn. The fact is, you can't commercialise your assets that you made, but they can commercialise it and keep it from you. You see why that knocks me off? You need to use a different word then. So anyway, that is there's more. There's more. I'm just leaping straight to these two paragraphs here because these are the two that sort of like set me reeling a little bit. Again, Paradox have never shown any sign that they would ever do it. It's the fact that they have included it is a massive, massive concern. Your creations are not your creations. Your creations are their creations, and you can't monetize them. You can take donations for your time, but that's it. And yeah, I just know that they're going to be creators who just say, that's it, I'm off. I'm off because of that. How many of our top creators are we going to lose? I don't know. But there will be some. Anyway, that's enough about that. Let's get down to the bit that affects me. Okay? And again, we're talking about this section here where I think this is exploitable by cleverer, bigger brains than me. People with brains that can use a better word than biggerer. People with bigger brains than me who will already have found an exploit for this. I could do something similar. I don't know that I'm going to, but I could, because something very similar is happening to the likes of YouTubers and Twitch streamers. You may make video. It says streaming Paradox games here, but this covers all of this media, all of this medium. You may make videos, live streams, or artwork that contain gameplay, music, sound, and screenshots from our services, and share them on media sharing websites such as Twitch, YouTube, Bilibili, which I think's Indian YouTube sort of thing. Am I right? Reddit, provided that your content is freely available to the public. For example, you may not place your content behind the paywall. Right, so you may not put your content behind the paywall. Monetization of such content is only allowed via websites' official affiliate, advertising or partner programs. Other forms of monetization of Paradox game content are not permitted. So, again, Patreon is not a way of... You can't paywall behind Patreon. Your game streaming, that kind of thing. Which is definitely going to affect me with the new live WhatsApp map, because I won't be able to stream that. However, I still think, and again, I know how this will... This is how my opinion will split. I will follow the rules. I will follow the rules. But what I'm making is behind the scenes. It's not actually the live. It's not actually the production. This is the planning of the production. With anything, if I'm part of a if I'm a part of the new Star Wars movie production team, I'm going to be making bits and clips of video that I'm not going to be able to share publicly, but I will be able to show to some other part of the production team. I see this streaming now, especially with the way that the team, I'm going to call them a team, have identified that the LUT was wrong this week. They've already made improvements to the show. Unfortunately, it happened too late to be able to do anything about it in this week's show, but they've already helped with that one. And in the flyovers of the in live WhatsApp map, there was somebody who said, "Oh, can we see that in night view?" And that was included in the final video because they were able to point out something that was a good idea and that wanted to be shown. Sometimes they've made suggestions or pointed out things that maybe I hadn't picked up on. These are going to make for a better weekly WhatsApp review show, and thus for me, it's behind the scenes footage. That's all it is. It's the stuff that I was doing anyway and wasn't recording, and now I'm doing it. Instead of recording it, so I have to edit it, I'm just streaming it. And I may as well be streaming. I could stream it to it, but the thing with streaming it to everybody, making it openly available, is there's more people in the chat, more chat to respond to. Takes me longer. If I didn't have the chat, it would save me probably about 15 to 20 minutes. And that's just to my channel supporters. Probably even more time when you've got the bigger chat going on. So I don't know. But as of the 1st of March, it will affect me personally and anybody else who does streaming or YouTube videos behind the paywall. This is the only thing that's going to affect me, though, is the... actually, one thing that is... I don't know how this works with this one, is with early access. Because, again, with... I've got a whole bunch of tutorials coming this year, and the idea was, or is still, as it stands, to upload it early to my channel supporters. And a big reason for that is so that they can eyeball check it and say, oh, you've forgotten to include this, or that information is wrong. For me, it's a way of using more minds to make sure that my content that's going out is as good as is possible. So uploading a video a few weeks before it's due to go live, I say a few weeks because what then happens is once somebody's seen the video and gone, that bit of information's wrong, or that's not very well explained, it gives me time to be able to go back and edit. And because I'm not a full-time YouTuber, I'm having to do this in between everything else that I do in an evening. It just gives me more time to react. So early access is footage that is is videos which is going to be freely available to the public, except for it won't be freely available to the public for a short while before it is. I'm not sure how that... I imagine Paradox would see early access as being not freely available to the public, and how that would be a breach of their terms of and conditions. But equally, I think that it means that I'm going to be uploading better content that still promotes their game, and the better my content, the better the game is promoted, rather than being flawed. And I don't have a production team around me, so I don't know how that's going to affect my my early access. In terms of the streaming of lives, I imagine that I'm not going to be able to stream live behind the paywall. Whether there's backdoors or whatever, I don't know. Maybe that goes completely. At the end of the day, if I'm not streaming the live reviews, it's going to free me up, I reckon, about another hour and a half a week. If we're talking maybe 15 minutes a show of responding and keeping up with chat. 6 of those, that's another hour and a half a week of my time that would be freed up. So I don't know. But anyway, if that happens, we're still a few weeks ahead of ourselves here, because this doesn't kick in until the 1st of March. I do hope, though, that this paragraph here is reconsidered, because while I'm happy to stop making live WhatsApp if absolutely necessary, or making it freely available if absolutely necessary, maybe turning the chat off so I don't have to respond to chat, I just stream it and just make it openly available. And just, if you've got an opinion, it's tough. I'm busy planning my own personal routes around and making my own opinions. But this, I'm sorry, is absolutely sickening. Absolutely sickening. And I'm, really bothered. Even, it's just that they can. Not that they have, or not that they will, but that they can. And if they want to, they can do it after you've said, no, screw you, I'm off. They can still do it to you. Not pretty. Not pretty, I'm afraid, Paradox. Bit like me, really, before I get out of bed in the morning. My bed's hair. I don't have much hair, but what hair I have got ain't pretty. Oh, man. Anyway, I think that's basically it. I've covered everything that I wanted to cover. Just over half an hour, which is actually a little bit quicker than I thought it was going to be. Thanks for following me today, and just roll with me. It's going to be an interesting couple of months, especially like rebuilding WhatsMap, seeing how it looks. I'm pretty sure that this week's WhatsMap will be a higher quality than last week's, because the production issues that I had this week, some of them I'm going to be able to circumnavigate, and will hopefully make for a slightly better show in terms of quality, and will definitely be running with the right LUTs as well. Anyway, thanks for watching, for commenting, for liking, and for subscribing, and I'll see you again, probably, very, very soon. Thanks for watching.